I give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Chair. The main goal of the Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development in terms of eradicating poverty will be impossible to achieve without inroads in other key areas of development. One of the most important of them is the provision of electricity. Despite progress made in this field, today around 840 million people still do not have access to electricity. According to forecasts, by 2030 this figure will only fall to 650 million, i.e. the problem will remain. When drawing up development strategies for electricity, we believe it is important to be realistic in our approach. According to forecasts from the IEA, by 2040 the demand for electricity will increase by more than 25%. Meeting this demand through renewable sources of energy alone, even given their rapid development, is not possible. As previously, fossil fuels will prevail in the global energy balance. In this connection, we believe it is necessary to maintain a balanced approach in energy, which will allow us to ensure the development of renewable and traditional sources of energy. In this context, the UN, and first and foremost the Second Committee of the General Assembly, must send a clear signal to the international community as regards the need to use technological development for all types of energy. In our view, through this type of balanced approach, we'll be able to achieve the goals set forth in the Agenda 2030 as regards universal access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern sources of energy. In today's reality, we see an increasing role played by natural gas as an effective and most environmentally friendly fossil fuel. This fact was reflected in the joint statements and outcome documents of the G20. The expanding use of natural gas in electricity generation and transport will allow us to cut atmospheric pollution and also make a significant contribution to countering climate change. We welcome efforts of regional structures, including the UNECE and ESCAP, to boost the use of natural gas, including as engine fuel. Opportunities are also provided by atomic energy, and these are often underestimated. With improving technology and increasing safety of nuclear power plants, this field has significant potential for providing electricity, at the same time reducing anthropogenic burden on the climate. We attach great importance to pooling efforts of states to reduce the volatility of the global oil markets and also creating an international energy policy based on the principles of mutually beneficial, equal and pragmatically focused partnership, free from politically motivated methods of unfair competition. Chair, we welcome the outcomes of the UN Secretary-General's Climate Summit and also the announcements made by countries of their plans to counter climate change and adapt to its consequences. Progress in this field is only possible through joint coordinated efforts. This is exactly why the Russian Federation joined the Paris Agreement. In addition to existing measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, currently our country is drawing up a modern system for state regulation of emissions, bearing in mind best national and international practices and also input from academic and business communities. Chair, the Russian Federation is a staunch advocate of building international cooperation for disaster risk reduction and strengthening resilience. We support the central role played by the UN in this field. We believe that the Sendai Framework and Action Plan are the main mechanisms for exchanging experience and best practice to strengthen the global architecture of international cooperation for DRR. It is the task of the international community to ensure that the indicators drawn up as part of this programme are implemented into their national systems for disaster risk reduction and also allow for a comprehensive review of progress in implementation of the programmes as part of the global and regional platforms for DRR. It's also important to look at the development of cooperation on a regional level. We're drawing on the capacity of regional economic commissions of the UN. Particularly for technical assistance and strengthening the capacity of developing countries, particularly the most vulnerable to natural disasters. They're particularly relevant for small island developing states, as was demonstrated by the high-level event on the midterm review of the SMOA pathway, this category of countries continues to need practical support from the international community. Alongside strengthening resilience to climate change and the consequences thereof, we believe it to be a priority to attract investment, to develop national systems for healthcare with a focus on the fight against... the speaker's microphone has been cut off.
I would like to thank the representative of Russian Federation for his statement.